Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NXT review for the 23rd of December 2020. And ultimately, to me, this was a better storyline show building to the future than AEW this week. Show opens with a tag team title match. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch defeat Killian Dane and Drake Maverick in a street fight to retain the titles. I'm a fan of Lorcan and Burch finally getting some due. Dane and Maverick isn't exactly where I'd go, and I certainly wouldn't start with a street fight, but I get it. Lorcan pins Maverick after he and Burch hit a double team DDT. Lorcan and Burch win. They wear regular gear, and the baby faces dress in street clothes. This doesn't make sense to me. Maverick and Dane jump the champs from ringside before the bell. They brawl on the floor for a bit. Lorcan and Burch turn things going their way. Chairs involved, and they're used as weapons pretty early. Brawl gives both teams, some advantages, and there's, I guess, some street fight stuff. WWE does whatever they want because it looks more like they're having a regular match that involve weapons from time to time. Chairs are used as weapons throughout, and the action goes back and forth. They do traditional tag team rules, which is stupid, at least to me. Anyway, then we kind of see fighting spill to the outside. They brawl. Tags seem kind of matter of fact going back into the ring. Texas Tornado tag rules kind of ran on the floor. They are both teams beating the heck out of each other. Dane goes flying through a table. Show goes to its first commercial break just as this major action happens. They use the weapons through the break, and Dane is down. He's selling. Maverick is all alone. Why the small guy is alone with two people instead of the big guy, but that who cares? It's just wrestling psychology, right? Anyway, uh, he gets whipped with the belt. Heat on Maverick for a while. Dane basically comes back from being laid out. Hot tags are rare in street fights, but they happen here. Dane cleans house on Lorcan and Burch. Tables are set up side by side at ringside. Dane takes a plunge off the apron through one of the tables and bounced off one and onto the floor. Tables barely break. Announcers uh, said that the tables were reinforced. This is kind of odd. Anyway, Maverick makes a comeback and dished out receipts with the leather belt. He dashes around Lorcan and Burch. Maverick is all fired up. Lorcan hits a low blow on Maverick, cuts him off. Burch then hits him with a cricket bat. They then spiked him with a DDT. Lorcan pins Maverick, and we go home. A vert for Gargano Christmas Part 1. The ways at the Gargano house, they're celebrating the holidays together. There's a piano used here. Gargano on a piano is said by Johnny Gargano. He tells us to forget um, Elf on a Shelf. Candice and the rest of the way approach Johnny. There's camcorder footage. Their opening presents. Anyway, Theory opened his presents. It's a Gargano Whey protein powder. He's excited by this. Poor Austin Theory. Why is he wasted in this angle? There's a special feature mini doc about Kyle O'Reilly and NXT champion Finn Balor. They're looking back at their previous match at the October Takeover. In 2 weeks, they have a rematch with each other. They basically both admit that they're double tough and they want this. It's kind of like a UFC hype package to get the future match to matter. And ultimately, both guys looked strong, and the way it was edited together, worth checking out if you haven't seen this. Malcolm Blevins backstage. He's there with Tyler Rust. Blevins hypes up Rust as, I guess, a big thing for the future. Isaiah Swerve Scott defeats Jake Atlas. Scott pins Atlas. Um, and relatively clean. Rematch from last week. Scott loses and refuses to shake hands. Scott continues to develop into a more heelish persona. He wrestles and takes the fight to Atlas pretty aggressively, sometimes cheating upon occasion. Atlas fights back, and the match goes through commercial. Atlas is in control. Scott cuts him off with heelish hinted tactics. Springboard off the top rope. Atlas goes for an avalanche. Poison Rana. Scott lands on his feet, and this, you have to admit, looked good. They fought, and then Scott nails Atlas with a headbutt and hits a Michinoku driver, and then covers Atlas for the win. Scott gloats and celebrates pretty assertively throughout, and then he wants a handshake. Atlas this time was the one to refuse, so I guess that means that there has to be a rubber match. Balancer at the end. Cole challenges the Velveteen Dream. Adam Cole and Roderick Strong are backstage. Interview putting the future in the hands of Kyle O'Reilly. They're interrupted by Velveteen Dream. Why is he still employed? Nobody cares. Literally, I cannot imagine people buying a ticket to see Velveteen Dream when the pandemic is over. I cannot imagine that his online questionable behavior doesn't affect how the world sees him. And even if it doesn't, he is so far removed from being relevant to a push. I just don't understand it. Dream says Cole's no longer the leader of the Undisputed Era. Riley's now the leader. He continues trying to put a wedge into the Undisputed Era for a while. Cole slaps him and calls him a moron. And then Timothy Thatcher cuts a decent promo on Tommaso Ciampa. He told Ciampa that they're going to take that if he's going to take liberties with Leon Ruff, Thatcher dares Ciampa to come and stop him, and Thatcher goes out of his way to make it very clear, abundantly so, that he wants to fight Ciampa again. Rhea Ripley and Dakota Kai. Ripley pins Kai clean. Ripley brawls with Raquel Gonzalez post-match. Gonzalez was barred from ringside for the duration of the match. This was done via Twitter by William Regal. This is just stupid. I understand that they think everyone uses social media, but if you have bought television time, you might as well use it to get your angles over. Anyway, she eventually comes out on the stage, but would not approach ringside until after the match. Ripley uses power and takes Kai out repeatedly. She tosses her around the ring, including an airplane spin. They spill to the outside. Kai hits a shoulder breaker on the apron. Kai then continues to work the shoulder. Ripley is selling. The show cuts to picture in a picture. They come back from commercial break with Kai still in control. Ripley powers out of this and hits a deadlift powerbomb and starts to go nuts for her comeback. Fires up on Kai, delivers some drop kicks, a gut wrench facebuster, and this only gets a 2 count. Ripley needs to be booked like a monster, which means winning after only a few spots. They trade strikes. Kai catches Ripley with a kick. Kai misses a follow-up running kick. Ripley plants her with a sit-out facebuster into an electric chair. Kai still manages to kick out for a near fall. Kai cuts off Ripley and she delivers a face wash. Ripley then counters to be able to catch Kai in an inverted scorpion leg lock. Ripley hits the hold and locked in, and Gonzalez ends up in the scene. Ripley shouts at Gonzalez and then cranks on the submission hole. And ultimately, Kai blocks the lung blower and hits Ripley with several strong kicks. Ripley blocked a kick and then goes for the Riptide. Kai counters that into a guillotine. Riptide powers out. Ripley then hits a pump handle and then gets the win. Gonzalez runs the ring and referees poured out. There's like at least 24 referees. The ladies stand face to face after circling each other. Brawl erupts, and then there's a pull apart. Officials have difficulty with the pull apart. We go back to the Gargano's house. Indy Hartwell is opening a present. Her gift is a PS5, or so she thought. Instead, it's an empty box. Gargano said the box was from his PS5. Gargano said he had a better gift for her, and he gifts her the family name, christening her as Indie Wrestling. That was actually kind of funny. Hartwell exclaimed that that's better than a PS5. I'm not sure how that works. Candice LeRae says, "We support you. We support indie wrestling." And then Austin Theory is moved to tears by this. This is so campy and just goofy that it's cool. Anyway, Tori Storm cuts a promo and she says she wants the championship off Io Shirai. Xia Li and Boa are still in training, but there's less torture this week. They're getting stronger. Anyway, Bronson Reed returns. We haven't seen him in a bit, and goes running over Ashante the Adonis. Clear squash match, and ultimately gets a clear pinfall after a splash. Shirai gets attacked. She's basically defending herself against the Tori Storm promo, and then she goes to the ring, grabs a chair, sits down, calls out Storm. Shirai gets jumped from behind by Mercedes Martinez returning. This is a good thing. She catches Shirai with a choke. She rams Shirai into a barricade and pummels her around the ring. Shirai tries to fight back. Mercedes threw onto her the bottom of the announce desk. Then we see Act 3 of the Gargano Christmas special. Johnny Gargano has a present for his wife. LeRae opens her gift and finds a mangled wheel from Shotzi Blackheart's tank. She says this is a thoughtful gift. I don't quite understand men and women dynamics if this is the case. Anyway, the Way gets together and say Merry Christmas. And that is that. Leon Ruff defeats Timothy Thatcher. Ruff pins Thatcher in what would be considered probably a huge upset. Thatcher manhandles Ruff for quite a while. Thatcher roughed him up. Ruff fights back. Thatcher punishes him more and more. Thatcher goes to get a chair. Ruff catches him with an inside cradle for near fall. Ruff is making a comeback. Thatcher cuts him off midway. Nails him with an uppercut. Torture continues for quite a while. Suplexes and stomps and kicks and other things. Ruff catches him with a small package and scores a pinfall out of nowhere. Basically, it's the 1-2-3 Kid angle from 1993, 28 years later. Thatcher attacks Ruff. Post-match, Ciampa runs down. Thatcher and Ciampa confronted. Ciampa nails him with the draping DDT. Ciampa then said he would see Thatcher in the fight pit and kisses him on the forehead. This is kind of interesting. Damian Priest cuts promo hyping his match eventually with Karrion Kross, which I assume is January 6th. Dexter Lumis is drawing pictures again. He's headed to New Year's Evil with a new picture, and this picture is Rhea Ripley squaring off with Raquel Gonzalez. and that's there. Last woman standing stipulation has been added to the match between Gonzalez and Ripley in 2 weeks. I think that's a little soon, but okay. Tyler Rust with Malcolm Bevlin defeats Arya Daivari. Rust submits Daivari in a good match for Rust. Rust takes about 85% of the match. Daivari does get some offense in during the match. Daivari is talking trash. Rush nails him with a triangle choke, and then hits a series of kicks. And then he hooks him in a submission. Rust kind of uses a modified Rings of Saturn, and just barely, but Daivari is able to tap out. Leon Ruff is backstage. He gets a rematch for the North American Championship against Johnny Gargano next week. And Karrion Kross cuts a promo on Damian Priest. They meet in a match in 2 weeks on January 6th. Year-end awards will be announced next week, and voting is now open online. Adam Cole with Roderick Strong defeats the Velveteen Dream. I actually thought they were going to start this off for a couple of weeks, but they do it here. Cole pins Dream after the last shot. Hopefully this sends Dream home permanently, but I don't think so. Cole is in control. Dream cuts him off. Cole comes back with a neckbreaker, regains a quick advantage. Cole hits a pump kick, sends Dream off the apron. They both hit heads. Pete Dunne runs down. Dunne attacks Roderick Strong at ringside. Dunne gives him the bitter end on the apron. Ouch. Dream gets some heat on Cole. They go to the commercial. Cole hits a rally as we return from break. Dream misses the flying elbow and basically hits a burnout spot. They trade strikes for several minutes. Dream bumping feet for Cole all around, and then Cole gets a near fall after a German suplex. Dream fights back only to get super kicked in the knee. Cole goes for the figure four. Dream manages to counter that. Cole hits a super kick in midair, and Dream's gets countered there. Dream comes back into the ring. Cole waits on him. Dream eats a super kick. Cole locks on the figure four again, but gets a rope break for a second time. Referee is almost a target, but Cole stops short and realizes what's happening. Dream then cuts off Cole. Dream hits a DDT. Dream off top rope with a flying elbow drop that he actually hits this time for a near fall. Then basically a series of super kicks from midair, from the middle rope. Cole gets the last one in that and hits Dream with the last shot. Cole covers, gets pinfall. Next week, Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong. And then in 2 weeks, we see a pit fight with Ciampa versus Thatcher. Overall, a good build for the next few weeks of NXT, and I think they did better than Dynamite tonight as far as building to the future. But it happens upon occasion. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.